I don't know an entrepreneur in the world that isn't busy, especially those of us that want to try all the things and have a lot of trouble saying no to new projects, right? I don't know if there's any of you out there today, but that's certainly me. But to do what you do well and to reach success faster, it's really critical to take a step back and start being more selective about where you spend your time because you're most likely spending time on things that don't really deserve your attention. And that time could be put to much better use, even if the better use is just time off to recharge. So, we're going to talk about three things that you want to do in order to spend less time and get better results. So, work less and earn more. Are you ready? All right. So, let's start with the easiest way to clear your plate. So, step one is to map out all the tasks you have on your schedule. So, look at your to do lists, look at your upcoming week schedule, and then determine which tasks are going to have the biggest impact on your bottom line. So, which tasks are going to make you the most money, that are going to get you the most subscribers, that are going to raise your profile the most? What is on your list that is really going to make a difference? So pick the top 5 or 6 things on your list and highlight those. Then I want you to look at those lists again, that to-do list and that upcoming week schedule, and decide what has the lowest amount of impact on your business. So what are the busy work items, the projects you don't really need to be working on right now, the things that you thought were important, you thought would have a big impact, but now you're finding they don't really create sales or impact, so you should probably cut them back or end them altogether. What are the things that you don't even need to be doing yourself that you could delegate or outsource or just put off altogether? Okay, so find those items on your list, the low impact items, and pick 8, 9, 10 of those items. Okay, now get those items off your list and off your schedule because they're a waste of your time. You could be using that time much better elsewhere. So take those, and you can mentally do this. You're going to do this with pen and paper later, but mentally think about some of those items that you really should be getting off your list and get them off your list. Now, already you can probably feel a little bit better, right? You breathe a little bit better. So now you're going to have some time and space to do two things. If you're working all hours, if you never take a weekend off, if you're totally burning yourself out, then use that time that you just found to better balance your schedule. So rearrange the things that you need to rearrange so that you can end your workday at a reasonable hour, so you can take some real breaks at the end of the week. This is valuable time for you to recharge. And you're going to find that taking those real breaks will make you more productive when you do work and more creative and more strategic overall. Now, if your schedule was already pretty balanced and you don't need to use this newly found spare time to take a break, then take that new white space that you found, that new free time, and add in some more of those high impact tasks that we identified, those high impact items that really move the needle for you. Use that white space that you've just found, that time you've just found, to increase your high impact items. So if you determine that, let's say, sales calls are something that you do and you find it's really high impact and you get really good results when you do them, and you normally do 10 sales calls a week, now take that new empty slime time slot you got and do an extra 10 or 20 of those sales calls. If you know that every time you submit an article or you focus on PR, you get a ton of new followers, then spend 2 hours on that instead of one, right? You get the idea. Now, the key here is to actually schedule those items in so that you don't fall into default mode and you start doing those busy work items again, because we're creatures of habit. So, right now, or at least right after this live, remove those low priority items from your list and replace them with the high impact tasks or the rest, either way. Okay. So, that's step one. Replace the low impact items with high impact items or rest and recharge time. Step number two is to look at the 80-20 rule. So if you're not familiar with that, it's the general rule that 80% of your results are created by 20% of your work, or that 80% of your sales is created by 20% of your clients. Those are two examples. So let's look at where your revenue is coming from. What's that 20% for you? What's the 20% that generates 80% of the results? So do you have a few clients that are supporting the bulk of your business? How do you find more of that type of client? How do you serve those clients better to make sure that you keep them and you grow them? How much time are you spending or wasting on the other 80% of low spenders or low income items? So, how could you use that time better somewhere else? And then look at your marketing. What's your 20% there? So, when you look at the time that you spend on marketing in a week, there's likely a couple of key things that are creating the bulk of your results. You're getting most of your impact from. So, what are those items and how can you do more similar items to generate similar results? So, again, you're going to look for those high impact items and you're going to do more of those and cut back on the low impact items. So, determine which areas in your business you're getting big results from a small portion of the input and then figure out how to do more of that or replicate that. So that's step number two. Step number three, the final step in working less to earn more is to analyze potential. And this is something that you're just going to do going forward. This is going to become a new habit for you. So to make the most of your time, you need to learn to pause and really look at every opportunity. Look at every single thing that's going to take up your time and analyze to determine whether it's a level one opportunity, so very low or no return, whether it's a level 10 opportunity, which would be an incredible return and well worth your time, or where it falls somewhere on the scale of 1 to 10 because you have a finite number of hours in a day. So if it rates less than a 5, you probably need to walk away from it. If it rates a 5 or higher in your mind, then look at it. But if you're adding it to your schedule, you need to be removing something from your schedule that falls at a lower rate on the scale, right? So if you've got an opportunity that comes in, let's say a client calls and they want you to work on a project for them. It's a lot of work, but it's stable. It's got a decent financial return. So you say in your mind, all right, that's about a level 6 opportunity and you want to do it. That's great. But what you need to do is find something on your schedule that's a lower rated opportunity that's not going to have the same kind of impact for income and get rid of that to make room. So for every new opportunity or task that crosses your desk, rate that opportunity on a scale of 1 to 10 for yourself and then decide whether you want to go for it or whether you want to skip it. And then don't just add it. That's where we get into trouble. You've got to replace something lower on the scale that has less potential so you make room for that new task. Okay, so those are three strategies to help you get the junk off your plate and really focus on the things that grow your business. And that includes rest and recovery for you. It's so critical. So, freeing up some of the space in your days is going to allow you to focus, to make the most of your time, and to start being more strategic about how to create real impact in your business. So, your one step for this week, because this is the One Step Empire series, right? We've got one step in building your empire every single week. So, your one step for this time is to choose one of the three strategies and do it. So, either number one, identify your high impact and low impact items and then remove up to 10 low impact items and replace them with 5 or 6 high impact items and some time off for yourself. Number two, you could identify your 80/20. So determine what 20% of your tasks or customers are creating the bulk or 80% of your results, and then do more of those and decide how to cut some of the rest. And then number three, start rating your opportunities as they come in from 1 to 10, and then decide whether to walk away from the opportunity or to take it and remove something of a lower rating from your list. So pick one of those three things and make sure you make time to do that this week. I can't wait to see what kind of change that creates for you.